and above all, you, our members and activists. My job tonight is to introduce our first speaker, but it's someone who really needs no introduction. There can't be a single person here who doesn't know who Chris Rennard is. Unless, of course, we happen to acquire the local party on Mars. Now, of course, if life was ever detected on the red planet, it would just be a matter of time before Chris devised a way of getting the focus leaflet up. It's a two-alien race. The Klingons can't win here. But Chris most emphatically does deserve an introduction in this sense. It would be totally wrong to allow his first conference appearance since stepping down as Chief Executive to go by without paying tribute to his unique contribution to our party. Liberal Assembly was in 1978, a year when our fortunes were at a low. He was there at the Brighton Conference in 1989 when things looked even worse for us. But Chris kept the faith, and the great turnaround in our fortunes since those dark days owe a huge amount to him. In part, it's been a question of sheer hard work, and Chris is a shining example of that Liberal Democrat virtue. Less so, perhaps, when it comes to the need for a good work-life balance. And sad though we are to lose his full-time services, it's absolutely right that he's now putting that right, not least for the sake of his health. He's already put in at least 3 lifetimes of worth of work for the party. So to Chris and to Anne, who has been stalwart in her support, many, many thanks. So far. Chris also has the sharpest brain for tactics in British politics. Just ask our opponents. Every day in the House of Lords, he faces people who have lost or failed to win seats in the Commons because he outsmarted them. Now, lucky for us, we haven't lost him altogether. He's still around to contribute his enormous wisdom to the party. And so it's a great pleasure to welcome him onto the platform this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Rennard.
Thank you, Roz, for those very kind and humbling words. You are a great president of this party, a real inspiration in your role, and someone whose judgment we can really all trust. And thank you to the hundreds of members who got in touch with me over the summer to wish Anne and me all the best as I stood down as Chief Executive some 27 years after I began working for the party as a constituency agent. It's been a tough job. There have been difficult times, and I wouldn't have been able to achieve the things that I have for this party without Anne's support. She's given all the time on many occasions and enabled me to work in a way that made the Liberal Democrats much more than my party, more than my friends. The Liberal Democrats are my family. I always used to think that I would stand as a candidate. What has actually given me the greatest pleasure has been helping so many good people get the opportunity to serve and work with their communities. Sadly, I think of some people who gave me great support and are no longer with us. Cyril Carr, the first Liberal councillor in Liverpool in modern times, who inspired me to get involved with the Liberal cause at an early age. David Ben Halligan, who encouraged me to take up the role that I did in parliamentary by-elections. He, I know, would have been smiling when we achieved our great by-election successes from Eastbourne to Dunfermline. Many people contributed to these and other political successes, but were sometimes unsung heroes. One of them was my assistant Francis Tattersfield, who tragically died shortly after doing so much to help me organise the 1997 general election breakthrough. They and the people who inspired this party, people like Roy Jenkins, Joe and Laura Grimond, Nancy Sear and others, we miss them all, but I'm sure they would be very proud of us today. And I'm sure they'd be excited about our future. I've often quoted one of my political heroes, Martin Luther King. Talking about the advance of the struggle for civil rights in the USA, he said, "We aren't where we want to be, we aren't where we're going to be, but we sure as hell aren't where we were." When we formed the Liberal Democrats, some people doubted if we'd last more than a few months. But what kept us going above all was our commitment to the values that bring us together: liberty, justice, internationalism, environmentalism. They would keep us going. When I was 18, I had been lucky enough to go to a good school and to finish the top of it. But by then, neither of my parents were alive. In sixth form, I had to live on my own and look after myself. So when I left school, I had no family income, but I had the chance to go to university. An opportunity that both Conservative and Labour parties have contrived to deny to young people today, unless they're able to cope with a huge burden of debt. I'm proud of the fact that all our education policies are aimed at giving opportunities to young people from the most deprived backgrounds to match those from more privileged ones. I'm proud of the fact that our party alone stands consistently behind the principles of the United Nations, and we were, of course, the only party to stand against the subjugation of our foreign policy to the whims of George Bush and the illegal and immoral invasion of Iraq. In fact, my overwhelming feeling as I step down as Chief Executive of the Liberal Democrats is one of pride. Pride in these principles and in the people that I have worked with. The party now has a superb senior management team in place, with the very able Chris Fox taking on the role of Chief Executive, and directors like Hilary Stevenson guiding our candidates and constituencies, Ben Stoner directing operations, David Logston raising the funds with the help of my last appointment, Ibrahim Jagouri, Nigel Bliss looking after the finances, and Lena Peach, Sean Kemp in the media office, directing our efforts there. They will, I know, make a great success of the general election campaign that will be chaired by John Sharkey, planned by Alison Sutton, and with communications overseen by Johnny Oates. I can't thank friends and colleagues in the party staff enough for their loyalty, support and professionalism over the years. I want to mention also Kate Haywood, who worked closely with me over the last 5 years to keep the party HQ running well and many of the committees in order. No easy task. And above all, Sarah Morris, who worked with me so well over the last 11.5 years, without whom I would have achieved very much less, and who, as everyone knows, was often really the boss. To them and all the staff of this party, very many more of them than when I began, I really am most grateful, and I'm sure that you are too. The real privilege of this job has always been the people. Staff and volunteers throughout the party, the hugely increased number of parliamentarians, thousands of councillors working with their communities, the party members and activists who tirelessly give their time, and those who support us financially. It's been enormously rewarding for me to have overseen the build-up of our constituency representation, helping to triple our number of MPs and win constituencies such as Sheffield Hallam, Twickenham, Eastleigh and Brent East, seats that have given us such a strong team in Parliament. I know that Nick Clegg will be the most successful leader that we have ever had, because of his own amazing abilities and also because he is building on those of his predecessors. I've been privileged and enjoyed working with people who led the Liberal Democrats with courage and distinction, from David Steele and Bob McLennan at the outset, and most closely with Paddy, Charles and me. The leadership that they all showed us sustained us in the bad times, helped us break through in the good, and made sure that now, Liberal Democrats, the best is yet to come. As for me, I will continue to work for constitutional reform in the House of Lords, voting, I hope, to complete the reforms begun by a great Liberal government nearly a century ago. I'm also looking forward to spending more time with Anne, who retired a few years ago after 35 years teaching, and with friends and family beyond just those of you in the hall. Now that I'm putting life back into the work-life balance, the good news is my health has started to improve. I'm doing a lot more exercise. And I remain very committed to the future success of our party. So when you are delivering your focus leaflets, remember that I will be delivering them too. And never forget that with the Liberal Democrats, you'll never walk alone.
By-election, Sandra Gidley MP, and your friend and colleague from the Lords, Baroness Liz Barker.